marvellous Montrose, where golf has been played since the 16th century. This is the game at its most natural.
I think you've got to stay patient, really. You'll get a lot of good breaks, a lot of bad breaks, you just got to go with it. So it's a different challenge today, wind's up, so looking forward to it. Yeah.
It's going to be a battle out there today because the wind's literally completely switched from the last, 2-3 days, and in practice as well. So, no, it's going to be a good test.
Yeah, you know, the wind and the rain brings another different element to it.
To be fair, I love it. I mean, my home course back home is a links course as well, so it's nice to... It's probably the first time actually I've played a tournament on links golf for a good couple of years since the amateur stuff, so it's nice, good change. Nice the wind's up again today, so yeah, keeps you honest as well, doesn't it, the wind?
Yeah, it's been a while from the amateur days, but yeah, no, it's going to be a tough one today, so yeah, looking forward to it. It's nice, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it is tough. Like on a day like today, it's going to be really tough out there.
I love it. That's where I'm from, so you know, it's what I'm used to.
Love it. It's just pure golf, is it? It's just got to get on with it. The conditions are tough. You just got to stay patient, like I said, and then things will come your way, hopefully.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. Yeah, like it's just you got to grind it out. Like you're gonna make mistakes, but you got to take your chances when you get them.
Keep the ball on the ground as much as possible, or at least as close to the ground as possible. For me, I don't try to fight the wind too much. Just try and go with it.
Just the sort of creativity you've got to have, really, or instead of just firing at pins as such, you've got to sort of play to sections, or run one in, float one in, and you just got to play all sorts of different shots, which is a bit fun. Yeah,
I think just control your ball, keep it out the fairway bunkers, keep the ball in play, get it running. It's so firm out there. Yeah, just keep out the traps, I think.
You can hit a good shot and end up with a bad result because of the few bounces of the humps and slopes, and with how firm the fairways are out here as well. You're going to get some bad breaks, but then you're also going to get some good ones. You might hit a shot offline, it could bounce back in play. So you just got to take each shot as it is and forget about what you've hit beforehand.
Over the first 2 days of this Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters, scoring's been super low, but Gary Ellis, today's a different test.
Certainly is, Phil. It's probably 10 degrees colder than it was. Wind has changed direction, picked up, and it's going to make it even bouncier.
Well-known faces on EuroPro Tour leaderboards, such as Ashley Mansell, Will Ennifer and Joe Dean, are figuring prominently. But enjoying a two-shot lead is Sam Broadhurst, winner of the Q School last autumn. But Gary's made a calamitous start. He's tee shot off the first, sailed out of bounds right. This is his third.
Ooh, and that's pretty horrible. Frightened by going out of bounds. He's now sort of got a bit stuck on his heels here, and his hands have crossed over, and we've now just got a sort of slightly heavy, low left, nasty tug into thick rough the other side. Oof, poor start.
The phrase that comes to mind, can I start again, please? What a contrast for Ryan Harmer, up on 16, having a tremendous round. And he's played that one nicely.
Yes, you're going to see quite a lot of these sort of chip and runs today. You can already tell the flagpoles are bouncing around. So let's have a look at the first of the par threes. Only 3 here at Montrose, but this first, the third hole, just 138 yards over this little valley that we're passing now, to a green that's only about 30 yards deep, quite wide, with a fair number of undulations. So the key is find the green. If you miss it, you ain't going to get it up and down.
Callum Fife, who's begun with a couple of pars, something Sam Broadhurst would love. And finding the heart of the green on 3. Of course, this time last week, Fife was in the position that Broadhurst is in now, i.e. leading after 36 holes. That was down at Camberwell. Here, Broadhurst, playing his 5th to the first, could very quickly lose his lead. More than likely, he will do so, Gary.
Yes, he'll be feeling dreadful because the first hole is almost a birdie opportunity for most of these players. So Harmer, this for his par, having just come up short on this tough par 3.
And that's a real shame. He was 7 under for the day before that bogey.
Callum Fife. This putt's going to swing a little bit off the left side. Has he read it correctly? He certainly has. That's a cracker. Yeah, it's a, as I said before, not a long hole, but mighty dangerous.
Broadhurst, mind in turmoil. Oh, he's got that for a 7.
Joe Dean's par putt.
Yeah, thank you.
Looks to the heavens, but it was never on line.
Now it's a little chilly out there, but surely we're not going to see a snowman, i.e. an 8. Oh, thankfully not. Well done, Sam Broadhurst, in the end. I'm not going to say limit the damage, but at least give himself something positive to think about. What a stunning start to this final round, and for Broadhurst, a real sickener. Having led by 2 teeing off, he's now 1 off the pace, together with red-hot Ryan Harmer. As for the lead, it's being shared by Will Enifer and Ashley Mansell.
And here we see Enifer, his second shot on the second, just out of the light rough, but a good angle to come into this green from. Ooh, amazing, it's firm and bouncy, but you catch one there right on the fringe and it's dug in stop dead.
Now this is Scottish links golf for you. One of those shots that looked a lot worse than it actually was, even though it wasn't ideal.
Ashley Mansell approaching the second. Yeah, again, just fooled by the wind there.
At Camberwell last week, Fife closed with a 74 to be tied 5th. And this hole could be expensive. 2 putts from there for just a bogey.
Well, Mansell looks as though he's found a very lush little spot there, but I think the ball was probably just behind that. Yeah, discussing there, the lie wasn't really very favourable, so perhaps as good as he could do.
Well, he gave that a pretty good tonk up the hill, but still short and work to do, just to drop a single shot.
Will Enifer, yard or so from the fringe before it's up on the green, and I must say the surface of these greens are very, very true, and that's good. It was a long putt, as he said, and he'll be pleased to knock that one in for a par.
And this is a linchpin putt for Fife. Nice and firm, full of authority, only 1 gone.
Mansell, this just over 6 feet. He thinks he's got a little bit of break on it. Oh, and he just didn't give it quite enough. Just needed to start it outside the right.
Our 3rd leaderboard of the show yields our 3rd change at the top. Enifer's been joined by Sean Laurie following his birdie on the 8th, one of many holes at Montrose that fill the locals with pride.
We've been here since 1562, regarded as the 5th oldest golf course in the world. Very traditional, unspoiled Scottish links, where we really haven't done a great deal to it over the years. It's been left to kind of nature to develop the course. Even in my time in 20 years here, we haven't really added much to it. We've moved the odd bunker, maybe in towards the fairway slightly, but we really haven't done much to it at all. Very natural, very old-fashioned, and like any good Scottish Championship links, from one day to the next you really don't know what you're going to be up against. We've had erosion issues for a long time now, again, even before my time here. We lost the 6th tee a long time ago. Recently we've lost the top 3rd tee, which you guys would have played off before when you originally came here. We've had to shore up the defence at 2 to save the 2nd. 2nd now is a fantastic golf hole. When I came here it was very straight. There was really nothing to it. We've added bunkers to it. The ideal line off the tee now is kind of cutting across a little bit of the bay. So it's actually made it visually a stunning hole now, to be honest. There is no quick fix, there is no easy solution. But again, there's a lot of stakeholders trying to work together to find a solution to enable us to obviously protect the 5th oldest golf course in the world. We will have to kind of really just keep modifying it and keep changing it and possibly look at further moves in the future. But again, we just don't know. It's Mother Nature. It's always nice to welcome this level of competition to the golf course, just to see how they handle the different conditions. It differs, kind of doesn't really differ on a daily basis, it can almost differ on an hourly basis. We can see even from scores this week, where this morning we were possibly on a 59 watch, didn't really materialise. The scoring has been fantastic, conditions have been good. But I think one thing I would definitely say is that over the years, from the 1st year to the 7th year, is the standard is fantastic. I mean, the guys on this tour really are something special.
Couldn't agree more. And here we have further proof. Every masterpiece passes the test of time. Montrose, where Kit Alexander and Joe Brooks explain what's required to conquer links golf.
We've come out here onto the 2nd course, the Broomfield, and we're going to go through some of the shots because it's a very different style of golf to what you might be used to. I've got Joe Brooks alongside me. Joe's made a great start to the season, and you're going to talk us through 3 shots that come in really handy when you're playing links golf or even just in the wind in general. So first of all, we're on the tee and you've got a driving iron in hand. So what's the plan here?
Yeah, so got a 2 iron. It's no real different to hitting any other iron, if I'm totally honest, Kit. Just trying to get it on the deck as quick as possible. You are getting sort of 50, 60 yards of rollout. So into the wind, it makes a massive difference. If you can get it on the deck and get it running, you might go up against and hit it as far as some guys' drives. All these golf clubs are designed to hit it in the air, so we don't need to help that. Put it a little bit further forward in your stance at address, kind of like a 3-wood or a hybrid or something like that, and then just swing on it.
That's a superb strike, and as you can see from the finish position there, all of that weight forward through the shot as well. Joe, how important to get to that nice full finish position?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at most of these pros on this tour, you look at their right shoe, the toe on there is a little bit scuffed. So it makes you get up onto that left side, make sure that you commit to the shot, and you'll pull it off.
Great stuff. Let's go and find the next shot.
Yeah.
Another shot you can use out on a links course that you don't get to in too many other places, Joe, is the putter from, wow, quite a long way off the green. When would you be choosing to use this shot?
With this week, the greens are a little bit firm, so it's hard to kind of spin it, especially when there's probably not much green to use if you're trying to hit like a 58 or a 54 in there, something like that. So yeah, just trying to get it on the ground and hopefully get it somewhere near the hole.
Yeah, is it as simple as your normal putting technique and just hit it a bit harder because you're further away?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously it's going to be a little bit slower coming out the fairways, but yeah, no real change in technique, just hit it a little bit harder and we'll see what happens.
Let's see if you've got your iron. Rolled pretty well.
Yeah, I'll be pretty happy with that, if I'm totally honest.
Very good for pace, and you got about 3 foot for your par.
Yeah.
Or birdie.
Yeah, probably birdie.
Definitely birdie. Our third shot is the punch with an iron. Obviously, normally windy out on the links, Joe. It certainly is today. We want to lower that ball flight with all of our shots, really. You've got a mid-iron in hand. Tell us what you're going to do to bring that flight down.
The first thing that you got to look at is the yardage. Obviously, you're not going to hit it the same yardage as if it was flat calm. So you're probably going to have about 10 to 15 yards less than what you'd normally hit it. To flatten the trajectory, I'm probably going to move the ball only about a ball's width further back. I'd like to have it a little bit further back just so we can get that little bit of a steeper angle of attack, and as well just not hit it as hard. The harder you hit it, the more spin you create, and the higher the trajectory. So I try and hit it a little bit lower, keep the finish a little bit lower, and hopefully we can pull it off.
Oh, Joe, that is absolutely flushed. Thank you so much for showing those three. We hope you can use that next time you're out on a windy golf course. Now let's get back to the action.
And kids, to a wonderfully tight leaderboard with only 2 strokes covering the top 7. 3 Scots find themselves in the mix. Jeff Wright, Sean Laurie, joint leader with Will Enifer, and Callum Fife about to tackle the short par 4 fifth, which by average score is tied easiest on the course.
Just about drivable, this 5th hole. Plays uphill. It'll get a good kick forward, and if it finds the right bounces, it can get to the front of the green.
Now we saw Harmer's bogey on 16. If he can finish birdie and set a 13 under total, who knows? Just a little pulley with his approach to 17. By the way, the winning score in 2019, the last time we were here, 12 under. Daniel Young.
Yes, so much depends on the conditions. And as you could see, although we didn't see this from the tee, Fife's ball was just about pin high from his tee shot there, but not in an easy place. And Will Enifer now, his tee shot on the 5th hole. Just pitched into the face of one of those humps. Really is a wonderful bit of ground, isn't it, Phil?
Absolutely. Now Callum Fife to bounce back from the bogey on 4. That will please a really big supporter of Scottish golf, who happens to be the 1999 Open champion, Paul Laurie.
Paul, you've been out here all week supporting your son Craig, your nephew Sean. How good is it to see them in action?
Yeah, you don't get a chance very often. Obviously, I'm quite busy myself, so it's nice to come down to Montrose, which is one of my favourite courses. We've got 5 clients from our 5-star sports agency playing this week, so nice to see them all play. Obviously frustrating because you want them all to do really well, and some of them have and some of them haven't. That's just golf, but no, it's great to see them play.
You've been hugely instrumental in the Tartan Pro Tour as well here in Scotland. You mentioned the agency there and the EuroPro Tour. How important is it, these platforms, to give aspiring pros the chance?
Well, all of these guys, their goal is to play the main tour, and to get to the main tour I think they have to go a challenge tour, you know, to kind of prove themselves there. So we need tours to give players an opportunity to qualify to get to challenge tour, because that's where all these players want to be. They want to be on the challenge tour, which is the next stepping stone to the main tour. So tours like this and our Tartan Pro Tour, that's what they're designed for, to get players the little step up that they need before they reach the sort of, well, not the big time, but the big tour.
100%. What do you think of the standard on the EuroPro Tour?
Well, all the tours are good. I mean, everyone, no matter what golf you play, whether you're an amateur golfer or whether you're a player on this tour, the standard's amazing. It always has been. And you've got to play good golf to progress from any mini tour. So no matter where you play, the standard is really, really high.
Seems to be a really exciting time for Scottish golf at the moment as well. Lots of exciting young talents coming through. What do you think about what's going on in the country at the moment?
Yeah, we obviously had a little bit of a poor spell, you know, as a country. There wasn't many coming through, but now we seem to have quite a few all coming through together. and the younger ones are looking exciting again. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm involved in the performance side with Scottish Golf with Katrina Matthew. Really enjoying that. It's great to do a bit of work with them and just see them all and try and help them. It's obviously all about them. It's not what we're doing really. We're a tiny bit of it. It's up to them to be able to progress and play the kind of golf they need to play. But no, it's exciting times again.
As a major champion and a Ryder Cup player yourself, multiple-time European Tour winner, how proud are you to be able to give a bit back and help the next generation?
Well, that's what it's always been about for my wife and I. We as soon as the Open came round, we were in a position that we were able to do that, not just financially, but to use our name to try and kind of set up the foundation first of all. And now the golf centre, we have that in Aberdeen, which obviously is, a lot of people use it and prepare for their golf and hone their skills. So that's what it's always been about for us. Obviously I had to play myself and I had to make sure that I focused on my own golf. But I always had an eye on giving back to the game. You know, I was helped when I was young. And if I can help, you know, them come through, then we will always do that.
It's brilliant to see everything you're doing, Paul. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Paul Laurie, really good bloke. Now from uncle to nephew, Sean Laurie out in 33 with 4 birdies. Just attacking the back 9 now.
This is second shot, middle of this 10th fairway. Yeah, beautifully judged. It's controlling the spin. And that left that you can see there for a birdie.
What a week it's been for Ashley Mansell. 64 in the first round with 10 birdies. And then 66 in the second round, when he was 6 under par after 6 holes.
I'll move to a better position.
Harmer's medium length birdie attempt on the 17th. Run out, run. Oh, yes.
Well done, pal.
He's on fire, Phil.
It's great to see someone coming from nowhere to potentially steal it, but I think he would need a birdie on the last and then the wind to get up.
Yeah, I agree with that. And back to Ashley Mansell. Little chip down. Oh, I rather expected that to release a little bit more, as I'm sure he did.
Just in the light fluffy stuff on 18, which measures only 363 yards. Get the feeling there he expected the ball to react a little more fierily than it did, if fierily is a word.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's exactly what was expected, Phil. Will Enifer, just from the other side of this 5th. That's a great looking chip.
Very good.
Oh, almost an eagle.
Now back on the home green, Ryan Harmer for what would undoubtedly be, given conditions, the lowest score of the day. Arguably his worst putt of the round, but he's got that for a 64.
Mansell. Yes, nicely done. Good player, Ashley Mansell.
Famous surname, Sean Laurie. Oh, not quite converting on the 10th green. Still though, a very tidy round.
Well, here it is, all before you. Can he? Oh dear, there's all a bit of after the Lord Mayor's show there, with birdieing the 17th but sandwiched between two drop shots on 16 and 18. Back in 33, great round of 65, clubhouse leader at 11 under.
Mansell and Laurie are tied second, and Enifer's second birdie of the week on the 5th gives him sole possession of the lead. But Ryan Harmer's prize for setting the clubhouse target is a post-round chat with Kit.
Ryan, 6 under par today. How good was that round in those conditions?
Yeah, I'd definitely take that at the start of the day. Just got really hot on the greens, really, and controlled my ball well. But yeah, totally different golf course, I guess, to the first 2 days, which is a bit ironic, really, because I didn't really get it going when it was calm, but when it was windy, I sort of did. So yeah, but no, I'll take that.
Leaders at this stage, only sort of 4 holes into their round. What's facing them for the remainder of this layout?
Yeah, I mean, the first 7 holes are sort of into wind, so yeah, it's quite a tough start, and then you switch sort of on 8 through to, I guess, what, 13, all pretty much downwind. So there's still a few chances out there, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's just a matter of controlling your ball and everything and holding some putts, I guess.
Gary, they all make it sound so simple.
Yeah, and I suppose it is simple if you just look that you have got a hole some putts. Callum Fife there, we only just see the very top of his head. I know he's not the tallest golfer, but that wind grass looked mighty tough, but he's extricated it to just in front of the green.
Now, in terms of difficulty, this is a brute, the 11th, at 450 yards. It's yielded the fewest amount of birdies this week, just over 20. Oh, and that dipped into that sandy hollow.
Ashley Mansell now. Out with the big stick, trying to keep the ball down and penetrating the wind. That's very friendly. Just carried the thicker grass and got a good shoot forward. And it's made its way a foot or so onto the green.
Now this is very similar to what he did on 4. Wayward drive, hacked it short of the green, didn't get up and down. Well, he's made a better job of that one, but still much to do to save par.
Will Enifer. This one from under the bank. You see their curtailed follow through as he tries to punch it forward. And a very good result. Going along nicely, Enifer, at the moment. Made a solid start.
Sand save here really would maintain momentum for Sean Laurie on a day when conditions are worsening.
Here on the par 5 6th, Sam Broadhurst, he's got his second shot just shy of the green. He's putting back into the wind up the slope, so it's one he can be aggressive with. A chance to repair a bit of the damage here. Enifer, though, he's taken 3 shots to get it just here. He's got about 14 feet, a good look for birdie. He's left himself a nice angle, but just a word on these weather conditions. Between these shots, I'm wearing basically everything I've brought with me to Scotland this week. It is brutally cold. The wind is blustery, in excess of 20-25 miles an hour, and there are just spits of rain starting to come down as well. These conditions are so tough for the players.
Alien environment for Ashley Mansell, but next month he's got a home fixture down at his base, Clevedon Golf Club.
Long effort to save his par. I'm not going to tread on anybody, so he'll just tap that one out of the way.
Now Laurie, what a putt this would be. Always a little low. And the 11th claims yet another victim.
Fife's par putt. Bit of a misread, it was never going to break that much, and just a tad hard.
Now Enifer to tighten his grip. Oh, very nice indeed for the man who features regularly on leaderboards on the EuroPro Tour. He's had 12 top 10s before this.
Sam Broadhurst then. Can he claw one back? Certainly not his day today.
It really was an X-rated start that knocked him completely off kilter. But Gary, the start to the back nine here is PG. Pretty good.
Certainly is, Phil. 10th, a lovely hole, 410 yards. Players will drive down. Got to be careful of these two bunkers. They're just about on driving distance if you stray a little right or left. And then this sort of necklace of bunkers in front of the green, which really shouldn't affect these players at all. They'll only be going in with a lofted iron.
Now this man likes a leaderboard, John Parry. He's never missed a cut on the EuroPro Tour, and this season he's always been there. What a beautifully controlled approach to 10.
James Allen, 8th this for his birdie. Can he convert this to move to 10 under par? It's running well. Yeah, very nicely done. Moving in the right direction.
Indeed, as is Parry. Now he dropped shots on each of the first two holes. This though for his 4th consecutive birdie. Never in doubt. A real candidate for promotion to the Challenge Tour at the end of the campaign. Now attempting to achieve his maiden EuroPro Tour victory, Enifer suddenly leads by 3. And what a surprise, Parry is contending yet again. Before the Order of Merit number 1 went in search of back-to-back titles, he sat down with Kit.
John, great win last week at Camberwell Park. I followed you the whole way. It was an absolute exhibition, to be honest. Some of your wedge play and putting was superb. Reflecting on it, just how well did you play?
I played really well. I think the first 2 days I probably played better as in tee to green. Obviously the last day was tough, a real grind the first few holes with the weather, but yeah, I was happy, really happy.
You said when we spoke a few weeks ago, your game's actually probably better now than when you won on the European Tour in your rookie season. How much more confidence do you feel in it now? If you get the chance and you get those starts on the European Tour, do you feel you can get yourself?
Yeah, I think I could, yeah. I think that the key is just the consistency, where obviously this year I've been really consistent, but you know, you need that week where you, like you said, wedge play is good, or you hole a few putts when it counts. That's always going to be there, but if you can put yourself in them positions more and more often, then hopefully you're going to give yourself more chance to win and win more. That's the plan.
Yeah, overall you seem to be in just a really good place. How much does that help when you step onto the first
Yeah, it
tee?
does. Like even today I was playing all right and then just had a bit of a meltdown for a few holes, but I know, I sort of tell myself you're top, you know, it sounds a bit cheesy, but like you're top of the Order of Merit, so you're one of the best players here, so you sort of give yourself that little bit of confidence to keep going up the finish, and I think it just helps you in, it's more the bad times when you're having a bit of a sticky patch on the course to sort of turn a 2 over par round into 1 under, and they're the ones that sort of can put yourself back in position or win an event.
Don't play a huge amount of links golf, certainly in the higher echelons of the professional game. Do you like it when you do get the opportunity?
I do actually, yeah. I think it's one of them. It's one of them. I prefer it when you play match play, because if you have a bit of a mare, you can just pick up. Yeah. It's always hard to stroke, but it's mentally. I think it's more mentally challenging than other courses. You can hit good shots and still be in trouble. Where, you know, if you play a normal part and you hit a good shot, it ends up close to the hole. So I think it's more of a mental challenge, and it's a lot more course management. Trying to judge off tees, sometimes you're hitting 6 irons off par 4s, and then it's drivers where you hit a 6 iron yesterday, and it's just trying to gauge all that.
We're trying to gauge, will the winner in Wiltshire be the master of Montrose? On the scenic east coast of Scotland, the cradle of the game lies Montrose, around 40 miles from St Andrews. where a Shropshire sharpshooter leads the way in the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. 5 players share second, but 1/3 of his round complete, Will Enifer is the man to catch. But in one sense at least, Kit has caught up with the pace setter.
Well, 2 under par through 6 holes. How pleased are you with that start?
Yeah, it's the start I was looking for, definitely. I've hit a few nice shots, to be fair. Nice chance on 1 and on 4, which I didn't quite convert, but I've played very steady.
Cold and breezy. Tell us about these conditions.
Yeah, it's definitely different from the last few days. The game plan has only changed a little bit with some of the clubs, but pretty much just keep it in the fairways and just go from there.
Are you keeping an eye on leaderboards or trying to stay away from that?
I did hear about a guy going low really early. I think he bogeyed the last, so he's a few behind me now. I was keeping an eye on that, but now I think the guys in front of me, they got the same conditions, so it's going to be pretty even.
Great start. Thanks, Will.
Cheers, Kit. Thank you.
Even's a word for Callum Fife so far. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys.
Sounded a good contact, but up there on the sand hill on the left.
More than half the battle on 7 is to find this fairway, which Enifer has done. In the sunshine. Comes from the Wrekin Golf Club, and in the West Midlands we have a saying, if you go out of your way, you go all around the Wrekin. Well, he's taking the direct route today.
Twelfth hole. Sean Laurie. Towering shot there, almost straight in the hole. That's a cracking shot. Covered the flag the whole way. I always think dogs on links courses, they belong together somehow. They just look part of a very ancient scene. And is this it's a good effort. Just needed a couple more rolls. Was tracking into the hole well there from Enifer. But another par on a tricky hole. Happy chappy.
Now this is so lie dependent. Ball below his feet. From the contact, the lie looked okay. And the result most certainly is. Although it trundles on. Not bad from where he was.
No, so much luck depends on the lie when you just miss on any links course. This little tiddler, which I expect to go in, certainly does. Smiling Sean Laurie, advancing.
Yeah, 2 on 12 from Laurie, and now Callum Fife, the other player who's trying to make it 2 Scottish wins on the EuroPro Tour this season. He finds the target as well. So Laurie goes to 12 under, Fife back to 11 under.
Coming off his birdie on the 8th. This to save his par on 10. Yeah, rolling some footage, as they say.
Now what news of Sam Broadhurst, as we see man's best friend? Well, we know about the triple bogey on the 1st, the bogey on the 3rd. Since then, all pars. Oh, and that's a welcome relief. That's more like the real Sam Broadhurst. Birdie on 8.
I like the fact it was just a gentle, hey Dad, have you got a little treat for me? And will this be a treat? Oh, it will not. Bit of a surprise, that.
Well, what a beauty. Judged to perfection. No less than 7 players are currently tied third. After tapping that in for birdie on the 13th, Laurie's now only 1 off the lead, but remaining in front, approaching the turn, it's Jennifer, a dedicated 23-year-old.
Well, you've been super consistent at a really good level since you got onto the EuroPro Tour. How do you assess your pro career to this point?
Pro career has been steady, I'd say. My first couple of years I've definitely learnt a lot, and then in 2019 I feel like I really built on that. Had some really good finishes and was really close to getting my card. Then obviously COVID, and I've used that opportunity to really assess all areas of my game and pick out some faults where I can just make a little bit of improvement, and I feel like I was raring to go this year and I've made a nice solid start.
How frustrating was it when you had all that positive momentum to basically lose a year?
Yeah, I mean, I was really looking forward to 2020. I put in some good work that winter, and coming off the back of a solid 19, I thought, right, that's the year I can really kick on. And to lose that, yeah, that was a big loss. But like I said, I used that to improve my game, and I got a few invites to main tour events and learned a lot about myself there. So just taking that into this year. What are the areas that you mentioned there that you focused on through lockdown? More work on my putting. I've been seeing a guy for putting for about a couple of years now, and we really dove into that. And then the mental side, I employed a mental coach to really help me with that area and see if I can make some big improvements there. Yeah, you got a couple of starts on the European Tour the back end of last year. Got yourself up in contention early in one of them. How was that experience? Yeah, that experience was good. I mean, it proved to myself that my good game can definitely compete out there. Obviously, it was a shame to miss the cut, but that was more from a mental breakdown rather than my game. So, yeah, just positives to take from that. Wind is getting up today as well. Might get a little bit of rain coming in. How do you prepare yourself mentally for that? I mean, it just becomes a bit of a grind. I think there is opportunities out on the golf course, but when that weather comes in, we had it yesterday on 10 and 11, it really sets you back and you think, okay, par's going to be a good number now, rather than chasing birdies. And then when the weather cleared up, it went back to being able to score again. But I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult today, so it's just going to be, just like I say, stick to the process and just take care of every hole.
Now this 9th has to be respected. More double bogeys and others on this hole this week than any other on the course. 5-second. No complaints there, Gary.
No, it was a fine shot. It's a very tough hole. Now, Mr. Consistency, Parry on the 11th, coming out of the light, rather wispy looking rough. Got a good contact, but as so often when you're coming out of wispy, dampish rough, you're not going to get the backspin on the ball to stop it on the green.
Fairway found for Laurie on 14, looking for a hat-trick of birdies, which, if it's forthcoming, would give him a share of the lead. Just about holding up a chance.
John Parry using his wedge here, just hands forward. As you can see, beautifully played, lovely touch.
Now 5 to get under the card. Oh yes. Not flawless, but he's battling really ferociously.
He's a good battler, I must admit. I'm impressed with him this season. Jennifer, who's not really had to battle at all, he's just been very, very steady. And there's another cracking shot in.
The lefty, James Allen from Chelmsford Golf Club. Well, to the right, and away it goes off those slopes.
Now, a couple of little breaks, and it's not easy, but he's been putting well, and this looks good. Yes, he's done it. Hat-trick of birdies. Very good. 14 under.
In early May, he won a tournament called the St Andrews Classic around the Jubilee and Castle courses. In St Andrews, and the Castle course in particular is a real test. And now Alan tested to salvage par.
Can Ennifer do this? This one just needs to stay just inside the edge of the hole. Yeah, very well done. Good move.
What a birdie for Ennifer. He's second of the tournament on the demanding 9th, and that sees Laurie's share of the lead end in the blink of an eye.
Alan, this 10-11 feet. Has he hit it? No. Really just the wayward approach led to that.
Now for all Callum Fife fans, how about this for good news? He's bogey free on the back 9 all week, and he's made a couple of birdies already on this 10th hole. What about 3 out of 3?
So this is our first look at Bailey Gill. Another southpaw. Followed well, beautifully driven in. Oh, that's another cracking shot. Rather nicely positioned pin for them to attack on this 12th. Callum Fife. Now, can he get this one? Is it going to turn? Oh, thought that was coming in. Sure he did too. Gave that a very good roll.
Gill from Lindrick Golf Club, where Gary's father, Peter, was on a winning Ryder Cup team in 1957. The last Great Britain Island team ever to win the Ryder Cup, because of course when they won it again in 1985 it was Europe, GBN Europe.
Yes, a long time ago, Phil. As we see Ashley Mansell, just a little lazy flick with his wedge and gets the ball dancing round the hole.
On the short stuff again, Callum Fife. A couple of wayward tee shots on the opening 9. Seems to have sorted that out though now, and completely in sync. He could be a real threat.
Mansell's short birdie attempt. Yep, hidden by his foot, but we could hear it. In it went.
Now at 555 yards, the 15th is the lengthiest hole on the course, but it's still a birdie hole. This is for Laurie's birdie. I think that's classified as forcing the issue.
Yeah, I think he just got a bit excited, having had all those birdies. And are we about to see one from Callum Fife? Yes, very good, well judged. I like it when they just topple in like that.
Now the birdies for Parry have to start flowing. Knew it almost instantaneously, left off the face.
Laurie, rather wishing he hadn't been quite so plucky with his approach.
Well done. Very good.
But no messing. Going along very well. Good player, Sean Laurie. Nice swing for anybody looking to emulate a simple looking action.
But given that he's birdied the 15th on each of the first 2 days, and it's a gettable hole that's delivered most birdies this week, a mere par is disappointing for Laurie. It leaves Ennifer alone at the head of affairs. A pair of Scots have been installed as chief chasers at the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. But will they get the better of an Englishman? The most famous course in this county of Angus is Carnoustie, where Paul Broadhurst won the 2016 Senior Open with his son Sam caddying.
Sam, you've made a really strong start to the season. How pleased are you with your form?
Obviously, everyone that starts the season wants to start out as good as they can. I know finishing 4th and then 2nd is obviously really good, but you know, everyone's here to win, and hopefully we can do that today.
You made a fast finish last week at Camberwell Park. How much has that momentum just carried you into Montrose?
Well, it's just, to be honest, I've been playing well for quite a few weeks now, tee to green, and I've just struggled on the greens. I went and see my putting coach, Mike Kansky, a couple of weeks before, well, I think it was the week before Donington Grove, and it's kind of just given me a little bit more confidence. So, but yeah, obviously finishing birdie there was huge, really, to finish tied 2nd.
Your father, Paul, obviously achieved a huge amount in the game, a European Tour winner, Ryder Cup player, senior major champion. What have you learnt from him through the years?
What haven't I learnt, really? I mean, I've been around the game my whole life, really, travelling to tournaments and stuff when I wasn't at school. And just picking into his mindset, really. I mean, I'm quite a relaxed guy anyway. I don't really let a lot of things bother me. But yeah, when I watch the way he is and the way how hard he works and that sort of thing, and I think the major thing is it's helped me be realistic in terms of, you know, my goals, and if I don't achieve them, you know, it could be a really long career. Hopefully it's a long career, so I know there's going to be ups and downs, and yeah, I think it just keeps me level-headed a little bit instead of, you know, reaching for the stars and then getting annoyed if I don't reach them, you know.
Have you spoken to him this week? Has he given you any words of wisdom with this new situation that you're in going into the final round?
I spoke to him last night. Well, to be honest, I speak to him all the time, so when I'm playing and when he's playing. He's actually playing in the Senior Players Championship this week and shot 3 under yesterday, so it was a good day for him as well. But yeah, he just. I'm normally a decent front runner, but I mean, obviously any day is different. But he was just saying, you know, stay in the moment, keep your head, and then just go out and play, really, which is what I do every day, really. I just go out and play and then add them up at the end. I don't really put any pressure on myself, so today won't be any different.
Broadhurst Jr. is level for the day, apart from that crushing triple bogey on the first, meaning he's now 4 adrift of Will Enifer, leader of the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. And another shot for Broadhurst could quite easily go on the stern 11th.
Yes, he's quite deep under the face, and the way he reacted, I think the ball was probably partially buried there. So Wicks, this is his long birdie attempt, running well, running right in. Very good.
Delightful from David. Now what about joyous from John? Has to make par here to stay in the hunt. Oh, and what a tremendous contact that was to get spin from that distance.
It was a fantastic effort there. So, Sam Broadhurst. Interesting listening to how he views the game. He's seen a few, he's talking to himself, telling us that he can't get them there, and that's been the case all the way through today.
Now 13 is friendly. 5 off the tee. Now Kitty's down there with his ball. How's it lying?
Fife is just right here, but he's got himself a nice little bare patch, so he'll be able to control the spin and flight beautifully. The wind has dropped a little, sun's come out as well, so a great opportunity. Just over 50 yards. That pin there looks really, really simple, but there's a little ridge just before it, so getting it back to it without running it past does take a little bit of skill.
We'll get back to that first. A must make, you would think, for Parry on 14. Exasperated. Now just try and maximise your earnings. Try to maximise those ranking points. Remember, the top 5 in the order of merit at the end of the season are promoted onto the Challenge Tour, and he's in a very healthy position in that regard.
Look at Ashley Mansell's tee shot on this good par 3. And another shot beautifully adjacent to the pin.
So he got the lowdown on a 5 slide. He's 2 back, remember. And clearly foxed. Thought that would take a much more springy bounce on the green.
Our leader. Now, what's he going to show us? Starts it out a little to the right. Has he got that bit of draw on it to bring it right back in beside the pin? He has, and the little bit of spin that curved it in the air also skipped it towards the hole.
Now in the headgear, it is Joe Dean, who has been promoted from the EuroPro Tour before, had 7 top 10s in 2018. A slower start to this season, and he won't be happy with that.
And can Broadhurst follow his fellow competitors and pop one by the pin? Yeah, I think they've got it surrounded with a good triangulation.
Not only Enifer but also Fife trying to win on the EuroPro Tour for the first time. He will have to settle for a par here on 13 though.
Mansell. Relatively flat part of the green here. Oh, burns the edge of the hole.
Now this is 16, famously where John Morgan showing us the hole, hold in 1. That, though, is a pipe dream. A 3 here is a good number. What am I saying? Go on. Oh, not quite up with Morgan, but brilliant nevertheless, on a hole where there's been nearly 100 bogeys already this week.
It is a very, very tough hole, but that was a fantastic tee shot. Enifer, has he got this one running well? We got it running well, but not on the right line.
Oh, Joe Dean read that well, just not quite enough pace. Does tend to get a little annoyed with himself, and he's the first to admit that.
Yeah, he certainly is. Now, this for Broadhurst par. Well, I think when you look at that, it just never looked as though he'd got the putter lined up correctly at the hole. From his calm approach went out the window along with the ball. Allen up round the bank and thought he'd read that perfectly, because that was not an easy putt.
Now 2 really big putts coming up, both on par 3s, 4 holes apart. First NFF for par on 12. Well done, stays at 15 under. And now on the 16th, just a tap in for Sean Laurie to join him. Simply terrific. And thanks to that bonus birdie, Laurie once more grabs a piece of the lead together with Enifer. And it's too early to discount the title aspirations of Fife and indeed Mansell, who shot the breeze with kit before going into battle.
Ash, it's been an eventful week for you if you have a look at the scorecards. Talk us through your back 9 in the first round.
Oh, it's bizarre, really. I mean, I was playing well front 9, couple of silly mistakes, and then back 9 I just started hitting great shots into the greens and holing the putts. I mean, I seem to have found my putting this week, which has been a godsend, because, you know, the last few months I've struggled a little bit.
A back 9 of 30 is absolutely sensational, and then the second round you go out and you're 6 under through 6 holes. What's going through your mind at that stage?
It's bonkers. Yeah, again, I just hit really good shots into the flags and then holing putts. Of course, you've got to drive it well as well to give you that chance. And with the weather the way it was yesterday, it made the back 9 play a little tougher than day 1. So, you know, it was nice to get the birdies in early.
You came through at Cleveland Golf Club, of course. That's where Johnny Morgan, our very own, is based. You must have seen a fair bit of him as you were growing up. What kind of influence has he had on you?
Oh, he's had a massive influence. I think the first time I met him, I was probably about 4, and he was hitting my clubs off his knees. I think I played like 2 or 3 holes with him. My dad took me up there. So yeah, John's been a big part of my life since a young age. So, you know, it's been a great time growing up watching him, you know, do what he's done in his career over the years with the John Deere and other events as well. You know, he's been a great influence and a great support.
And how big would it be for you and your career if you did end the day with this trophy?
Oh, it'd be massive, you know, massive. It would certainly be a massive step up the ladder in where I want to get. And, you know, I've said to myself that this year I have to do something on here to really sort of progress forward. Because obviously I'm getting slightly older and the younger boys are coming through and doing me by 20, 30 yards off the tee. So, you know, I've definitely got to progress on this year. So, yeah, it'd be a massive stepping stone.
As would victory for Will Enifer, stepping stone, that is.
Certainly swinging very freely. And, yeah, it's okay. We can see the ball from here. Just very light rough.
Joe Dean from Worksop tried to get up and down for a par on 14. That is class. It really is. From the former English amateur champion.
Back to where we left Enifer's golf ball. Tossing it in nice and high over the edge of the green. And another very well judged approach.
Really well done. We're seeing, as we always do on links courses, the need to be creative. Have an imagination.
You do. I think that's what makes it fun for everybody, really, certainly the spectators. Players are just offered a different test when you're on particularly a links course like this that's such an old course, and as the pro told us, hasn't really been altered in hundreds of years, other than by a little nature.
Into the heart of the hole, a really useful par.
Looks as though he's trying to chip it over the rate, isn't it? Just an optical illusion. But again, that is the imagination. You can see a very straight-faced club into the wind. The last thing you want to do is to poke it up in the air. That was a great shot from Parry.
Yeah, I think we can give him that one, so he will improve to 11 under. Couldn't be more impressed with John Parry so far this season. Every week, and this is the 4th event of the campaign, he's been inside the top 10.
Coming up over little sort of false front on the green here, and then down it comes. Difficult to judge the pace there, as you could see. Always is when you've got to come up over a saddle and then it's downhill to the hole.
The man in black looking to get in the red on 15. And I must say, don't know whether you agree, Gary, but on the greens he really does look the part. Very stylish.
He does, he's very good. I've watched him over a couple of seasons, and he's a very good putter. Now, John Morgan's protege finds the front of the cup, and Ash Mansell advances his score.
Really significant putt, this. Solid. Retains a share of the lead as a consequence. Ryan Harmer, Nick Watson and Bradley Borden remain tied for the clubhouse lead. Mansell and Fife need a big finish, but joint favourites for Eagle Orchid, Scottish Masters glory are Laurie and Enifer. The crunch at Montrose is coming up after the break. You know, 19th century legends of the game, such as old Tom Morris, Andrew Strath and Willie Park, have trodden these Montrose links. Now, two young men, Sean Laurie and Will Enifer, are following in those illustrious footsteps, tied at the top in the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. Maybe John Parry is just a little too far back to challenge, but the Yorkshireman could yet journey south of the border with his lead increased at the top of the EuroPro Tour Order of Merit.
Here he is on this longest of the par threes. It's a good straight. Very close. You can see it's a really, really undulating green, this one. And if you get on that back portion, the ball just races away. Long putt coming up in a minute.
Now, given that he trails by 2, a birdie on 15 would be gold dust for Callum Fife. Just keeps running on and on and on. Went just into the thick stuff. Not the best ball flight there, Gary.
No, it lost a little bit of control, and then the wind took it as well. Now, this really is a very difficult. You know, TV screen tends to flatten these things out, but you can see the enormous hump they had to go over there, and that is a wonderful touch from John Parry.
So Parry tapped in. Next to tackle this hole, James Allen. Oh, another beauty. 16th lengthy par 3, very reminiscent in fact of its near neighbour Carnoustie. The 16th there is a par 3 that frightens the living daylights out of everyone.
It certainly does, Phil. As Fife gets a very good contact, you could really hear a nice clean click as he got his wedge on the ball there. Seemed a bit harder for him to get his trolley out of the rough.
Now Sean Laurie is in the middle of the 17th fairway, and so too is Kit.
Great tee shot from Sean Laurie down the 17th. It's downwind and he has crunched one down here, just 82 yards into that pin. It is slightly a raised green though, so we can't see the bottom of the flagstick. There is a lot of putting surface to work with. This is all about judging how this ball is going to release on not a full swing, so not maximum spin, and also down breeze.
Well, Kit's given us chapter and verse. Now, can Laurie ride to orders and pop this in very close? Well, you could see there almost he was trying to sort of slide the club across the ball to get a little bit of extra spin. You can see it here, lovely length, and just as he comes down you'll see the club just sort of slides across to try and get that little bit of extra spin. But it ended up with him dragging the ball slightly left.
We've been extolling the virtues of James Allen as a putter. Oh, and another good roll. If he doesn't knock them in, he invariably threatens the hole.
From pin high, not a lot of break as we've seen before on this hole. Oh, again, very good roll that just touched the edge of the hole.
Now, after two mighty blows, this for an eagle. Oh yes, Joe Dean conquers 15, up to 12 under.
This little one.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Thank you.
Well done by Sean Laurie.
And now, back 2 holes. His fellow countryman, Callum Fife, has this to get within 1 of the lead. And in it bolts. This is getting very interesting indeed. Mansell and Dean must birdie binge on the closing stretch. Fife edges within touching distance, and although Enifer and Laurie are jousting at the top, the marginal advantage lies with Enifer because he's playing the 15th, a hole that's yielded a couple of birdies to the Midlander already this week.
Lovely look back there. Big full flowing bash at it. As he found the green, I think it will tiptoe on and not far away. Yeah, that's a cracking shot.
Now I'll repeat what I said earlier, Callum Fife hasn't made a bogey on the back 9 all week. But 16, that will examine you to the limit. But he knows exactly what to do. What a difference a week makes. At Camberwell last week in the final round he struggled, looked ill at ease. Today he's been very impressive.
Yeah, he certainly has, and this is a very tough hole, although I think fractionally easier today because of it being downwind. Mansell, his 3rd shot, the 15th here. Yeah, nicely judged. Chance of making his birdie in a moment or two.
And a birdie on 18 would be the gold standard for Sean Laurie, who, like most of his fellow competitors, takes an iron off the 18th tee and finds the middle of the fairway.
Yes, cracking tee shot. So he's in prime position to be able to put one by the flag and maybe sign out with that birdie. Maybe just a little bit of pressure there, but that was not so good.
Yeah, pressure gelled with adrenaline maybe. Now Alan.
Will Enifer, he saw his second shot come bounding down that hill. Can he convert it into an eagle? Oh, he thought it was there. But it's going to be a very simple birdie. And I think that really, Enifer's moving to the point, Phil, where he's perhaps got a hand on this trophy. You never know.
Well, that gives him sole possession of the lead again. And of course, if Laurie doesn't get up and down on 18, it would be a two-shot advantage. Unless this goes in.
Laurie has a little bit of work to do to save his par here from left of the 18th green. He's got a couple of options. He can bump and run it, or he could take the putter out. It's pretty flat, not too much undulation to deal with, really. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. The safe option under a little bit of pressure is definitely that putter.
And that is exactly the option that Shaun Laurie has gone for. So much depends on those, though. I mean, it is very smooth, but if the grass is growing against you in the green, it's not always a good option. I think that was the case there, which is why it came up so short. Now, Alan, this across the 17th green, we've seen several today, and in it goes. He's really is showing us his good putting stuff. Well done.
Now back up to 18. What a mega putt this is for Laurie. The dejection etched all over his face.
Can Ashley Mansell convert this little one? You heard him say didn't break. He thought it was going to. I'm not so sure it ever was. So this is, it's been a very good round, lovely 66, but Shaun Laurie will be very disappointed with his approach to the 18th there. But a good week.
It was, although it ends on a sour note. I wonder what his reaction will be. Will he take the positives?
Shaun, how pleased are you with 5 under in the final round today?
Yeah, I'm delighted with that. I played great all day, so can't have any complaints. It was tough conditions out there, so my ball striking was really good, which is pleasing. So I'm delighted, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, the par 3s late on were pretty special. Tell us about that one on 16 as well.
Oh yeah, well, it was 200. I think it was about 230 yards. It was that wind. Hit 7-iron, just right up in there. And we seen it bounce. We thought it could be decent, and then we got up there, and I thought, wow, that was a bit. So I was delighted with that, obviously.
How pleased are you by that total, and do you think it gives you a chance with, obviously it's not playing easy out there?
Yeah, I mean there's still a chance, but it was disappointing on that last hole there, but it's overall I'm delighted with the round, so if it's enough, it's enough, but if not, I'm happy with the way I played. It's a good week.
Laurie's lapse at the last sees him fall back into a share of second with compatriot Fife. In contrast, Enifer's prospects soared with his birdie at 15, good enough for a 2-shot lead.
But on the 16th, he's having to contend with a shower now blasting through. We really have had everything this afternoon. I think that one finished just on coming onto the left edge of the green.
Yeah, it's the 4th tournament of the season, and 4 seasons in one day.
It certainly is. Ash Mansell trying to sneak one under a golf cart there.
Now Parry on the last. Well, considering the unpredictability of that lie, that was a real cracker. Looks like he's going to Paddy's lead at the top of the order of merit.
I was wrong, and Ennifer's ball didn't sneak down onto the green, but he's extricated himself from the bunker really, really well. Big full swing. Curtail follow through by the lip of the bunker, but a great result.
And even though he's not in sand, this is in many respects a much tougher shot that was made to look very simple indeed. The tempo of Mansell's chip there, ideal.
Yes, it really was, Phil, and Parry a bit frustrated with himself, just never got a good contact on this one. Signs off with a par though, 69, 2 under, 11 under overall, and another fine week to add more order of merit points.
Will Ennifer's made 19 birdies this week, more than anyone else. But that par, saved from sand, will give him just as much gratification, if not more, than any of the 19 birdies. You know, there are times when pars are invaluable, and we've just witnessed a prime example. Ennifer safeguards a 2-shot lead over Laurie and Fife. His first EuroPro Tour triumph, now almost reality. Will Ennifer hold firm at Montrose? Find out after these. Montrose has been the backdrop for over 500 years of golf, and these fine links, steeped in rich history, are about to crown another champion. Will Ennifer leads the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters by 2, but could yet be caught by a Glaswegian in the group ahead, Callum Fife, who, it's worth noting, finished birdie in the opening round just a couple of days ago.
Lovely look up at the green here, just on the edge of the rough. Nicely judged. Fife was trying to wave it back towards the pin, but pretty well judged.
We saw Dean's eagle on 15. He made par at 16, and after that could be 3 threes in a row.
Here we have the 17th. A lot of danger on the left. You really mustn't stray to the left, although it's playing easier today, being downwind. But if you go left, you can see course is very pretty, but completely deadly. Once you've got down to here, green is elevated about 10 feet or so above the fairway, so you don't see the bottom of the pin, and it's really, you don't want to miss to the right. Very difficult to get it up and down from there. As we scoot back to the tee to see our leader. Our right hand was off a bit quick, but his playing partners were speedier with the good shot. And look at that, bounding on down. Still going.
Yeah, good result, and that's all that matters, although the way it came to rest there, that might be in an old divot.
Did look as though it had nestled down. Divot, little gully. Now, Fife. We've seen a few go in from here, but not this one.
Now Alan playing with Daniel Brennan from Ireland and Jack Charman, the Englishman who led after day 1 with a 62. What a score that is around here. And the lefty finding himself in Sean Laurie country.
Dean's 9-10 footer. Yeah, nicely done. 3 threes.
So Alan chipped down to here.
Well done, good up now.
Double bogey on the second hole, but it didn't deter him. And I just get the impression as the season goes on, we're going to see a lot of this man.
Yes, there's, you know, we're 4 events in, and there's 3 or 4 players who've been incredibly consistent knocking at the door, and maybe it will open for them. 5. Yep. Taps it in for his par. Up to the 18th tee.
So really now, with 5 not making birdie here, you have to say Enifer is pretty much the master of his own destiny. And that seemed crisp enough. Precisely what the doctor ordered.
Yes, looking very calm, very well balanced there. And Ashley Mansell's approach. Throw it in high, get some stop. Yeah, good shot, dead on line.
Enifer's given himself about 30 feet for birdie here on 17. It's an interesting read as well. You think it's going to slope from left to right. Actually, I think it might go the other way, especially with this wind helping from right to left. It's not going to move too much, maybe just a cup from the right.
Callum Fife has made his way up the hill to the 18th tee, looking back towards the town. We can certainly hear the wind whistling up on top of that sandhill. Yeah, fine effort. Splits the middle of the fairway.
Mansell on 17. Trying to make the week a little more profitable. Oh, and he was just begging for the ball to hold its line, and he just veered off at the last moment. In the back of your mind, you suspect it's going to miss, but you pray that you're incorrect.
You just hope it's got enough to hold its line when it's going like that. So after the very good tee shot, Callum Fife. Looking at it closely, quite likes it. Yeah, and why not?
Well, this to effectively slam the door. And he didn't just lag it down there.
No, he was certainly going for it. And really the ball didn't move at all. Kit said he thought it might come from the right, but it actually ran very straight.
Now here's another player who you think as the weeks progress will challenge repeatedly, Joe Dean. He has got game, as they say. Sorting out an 18th that goes back into the town, Gary.
Indeed, yes. Lovely look from the tee as you look back to Montrose. Not a driver hole. The out of bounds on the right encroaches very much by the green. Just got to avoid these fairway bunkers when you're playing your iron down. Leave yourself far enough back to get a fairly full shot. And not be too bold, because if you scuttle onto that road, you can go out of bounds over the back of that.
So again, the conservative and very sensible, appropriate play from Enifer, and all is well.
Yes, I've been very impressed today. He's kept calm, control. This again, another lovely swing. little bit of adrenaline obviously flowing, because that has gone a long way with an iron.
He's been second on the EuroPro Tour a couple of times, in 2019 at Portal and at Studley Wood, with a closing 63, but now poised to go one better.
Can Fife close out his day with a birdie? No, but it's a solid par, and he's played very well following the not such a good last round last week. A couple of little stumbles early on, but then lots of red figures. 67, 14 under. Good week.
Yes, and Camberwell now very much out of his system. Joe Dean won the Pro-Am at Camberwell with a 63 and then promptly missed the cut. He'll be hating that putt. In general, though, this has been a big step forward.
Certainly is. Highlight the eagle back in 31 for a 69.
Well, that's part one done here for Ennifert, down 18 with a 2-shot lead. First job, find the fairway, and he's done it. Wind is coming off of the right, helping a little as well. That pin looks really accessible. All he needs to do is find the short stuff, find the putting surface and 2-putt, and that trophy is his.
Yes, only about 70 yards left to the flag, and another neat, crisp contact. Oh, it's a cracking shot. Been impressive, Phil, hasn't he?
He really has. And Graver, start your work. It's been coming, of course, but you never can guarantee anything in this game.
No, all sorts of things can happen. Nash Mansell said earlier on that he wanted to step up, and it hasn't quite happened for him.
You know, Ennifert, during lockdown, drove all the way down to Spain to practice at Desert Springs, to hit ball after ball to hone his skills.
Very good, Will.
And that trip in an old van of over 1,000 miles has been well and truly vindicated here, with a clean card on a tough day, a 66 to wrap things up. Congratulations.
Yes, on such a tough day, that really was a wonderful score. Now, can Mansell close out in style? No. Not to be. Solid, but not spectacular.
The other member of the final 3-ball, overnight leader Sam Broadhurst, endured a costly closing 76 that saw him plummet into a tie for 14th. Laurie and Fife tie second, but after several near misses in the past, the trophy deservedly goes to Ennifert, the victor by 3.
Will, you've won the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. How do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely delighted. I mean, it's nice to finally get over the line. I've been in contention a few times. I mean, I wouldn't really thought here was going to be the place, but we'll take it.
Bogey free in that final round. How good is that in these conditions?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, my game plan was to just not go backwards. If I don't make any bogeys, then people have to come and get me, especially after the first hole with Sam making a bit of trouble. So I thought just keep plodding away. If we pick up some birdies, then we'll be okay. Your
form had been great. Easy to say it's been coming, but how satisfying to actually get that first win?
Yeah, it's more than satisfying. Form has been there. I mean, I struggled a bit last week, but it was nice to bounce back this week and get the win.
Ennifert ecstatic, and so was the chief executive of our loyal tournament sponsor.
From the early days of Stuart Manley, Oliver Farr, these kind of guys have won the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters in the past, and more recent years, guys like Jack Senior making their way. Clearly, we're only a tiny little step along the way, but it's great to think that we have played some small parts in helping these guys along the way. As I said at the start, chasing the dream, their chosen path in life. If we've given them one small stepping stone along the way, that's just fantastic. That's all we can ask for.
In 5th, Callum Fife is the highest ranked non-winner on the updated Road to Alcanada, With his 4th top 10 in as many starts, John Parry stretches his lead in the early season order of merit. But look at the ascent of the EuroPro Tour's latest champion, Will Enifer, striding into 2nd. Hope you enjoyed the show in our majestic venue here at Montrose. Next up, it's the Worcestershire Masters at the Vale. But until then, it's goodbye.